you trying to coddle him for? Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to...
We have rarely seen such a brutal and shocking turn in a celebrity story, not even in the Harris family's long, messy history of public drama. Tonight, the entire world is on edge, waiting for updates about King Harris, who is currently lying in intensive care, battered, bloodied, and fighting for his life after what insiders are calling a savage prison attack. The details leaking out from behind those Georgia prison walls sound like something straight out of a gangland thriller. According to reports, King was left clinging to consciousness after being jumped in his block. Guards scrambled to pull him away while chaos erupted all around them, forcing an emergency lockdown. Sources say he was rushed under armed guard to the prison infirmary, his face bruised and swollen, his body barely moving. Staff had to fight to restore order as a full-blown melee broke out, leaving multiple inmates injured. And for anyone assuming this was just a random fight or some routine initiation gone wrong, think again. The whispers say this wasn't spontaneous. This was a targeted hit. Inmates allegedly turned on King in what some are already describing as a vicious, calculated ambush. Some believe it was payback for his constant flaunting of wealth and privilege, while others think it was a warning shot, a chilling reminder that behind bars, fame means nothing, and weakness makes you...
Being arrested isn't really like the shocker, it's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12, so, you know, it just...
As the news spread, the internet exploded. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok lit up with reactions. Some users expressed genuine shock and sympathy, but others mocked him, saying King had finally met the real world and couldn't handle it. The Harris family, meanwhile, is said to be in full panic mode, scrambling for answers as whispers grow that this may not be the last time King is targeted. Social feeds lit up like wildfire, flooded with live commentary, wild speculation, and, inevitably, a storm of conspiracy theories. The first wave of unconfirmed rumors pointed straight at ongoing conflicts with other inmates. One source close to the Harris circle whispered that King had been marked for humiliation weeks ago, targeted not by chance, but by design. Another insider tied to prison staff insisted King was already a pariah inside those walls, resented for both his family's fame and his own loud attempts to stand on business like he ran the yard. Inmates who spoke anonymously claimed they'd warned him to watch his back, saying he was too loud, too proud, and way too soft for that world. Suddenly, the threats weren't just empty talk anymore. They turned into brutal action. The Harris family's response? Full-blown emergency mode. We're hearing T.I. hasn't slept since the attack. He's been making desperate calls to attorneys, politicians, and anyone who might hold even the slightest influence over the Georgia Department of Corrections. One Atlanta source claims Tip has already offered to write any check, make any promise, even sign NDAs if it means getting King out alive before it's too late. It's almost surreal to imagine the self-anointed King of the South brought to his knees, but that's exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Tiny has reportedly locked herself in a separate war room, coordinating publicists, lawyers, and media allies. And in private, the couple's famous unity is starting to crack. Sources say the arguments between T.I. and Tiny have become explosive, with each blaming the other for how their son ended up in this nightmare. Friends close to the family aren't even sure anymore whether T.I. and Tiny are fighting to save King or just fighting each other, all while their son's life hangs in the balance. The household that once branded itself as unshakable is now unraveling under the weight of crisis.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, it's some adversity. Mm-hmm. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your bed.
Climate for King was never safe, but lately insiders say it turned downright toxic. Multiple sources reveal he was taunted constantly about his parents' infamous scandals, including the lingering cloud of those human trafficking allegations that continue to stalk T.I., Tiny, and by extension, King himself. It didn't help that King reportedly fueled the fire himself. He allegedly tried to flex for social media even behind bars, calling out rivals and hyping his image as Atlanta's next big thing. But the older prisoners weren't impressed. "We're not here for the reality show," one ex-inmate told us bluntly. "We don't care who your daddy is. If you don't pay what you owe or you run your mouth, you get handled." That's the rule of law inside. And now King is paying the price. On the outside, T.I. is playing every card he's got left. Sources say he's threatened to go public with explosive complaints about conditions in the facility, while at the same time, his team is quietly shopping sympathetic stories to friendly media outlets. The goal? Shift the blame away from King and point it squarely at a corrupt system, a classic move straight out of the celebrity crisis playbook. But is it too late to save him? That's the question haunting everyone watching this unfold. And behind all the frantic damage control, one unavoidable thought lingers like smoke. What if this is exactly what happens when you raise a son to believe he's untouchable, only for reality to punch back hard?
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
The fire. Adding fuel to the fire are those whispers from 3 separate industry veterans claiming the Harris family's messy legal history may have made King an even bigger target behind bars. It's no secret that his name has popped up in connection with those ongoing trafficking allegations, accusations that first erupted years ago and refused to disappear. Accusers have hinted at a tangled web of bad behavior, one allegedly led by the Harris family itself. Sabrina Peterson, the ex-friend who ignited the storm, even went on record threatening to drop explosive receipts that would supposedly drag not only T.I. and Tiny, but King himself into deeper legal quicksand. The feds may not have pressed charges, but in the court of public opinion, that stain sticks forever. And while the Harris legal team is working overtime to silence one scandal, another rumor surfaces. We've seen the whispers about a secret deal gone sideways. King's name allegedly scribbled on a contraband ledger, a promise broken, and word spreading that he either snitched or reneged on a payment. Is it just prison gossip? Or the real deal? Insiders claim that inside those walls, the price for crossing the wrong person is always paid in blood. Stack on top of that King's privileged upbringing, his reality TV past, and the Harris family's long-running knack for attracting controversy, and it's no wonder he became a lightning rod for every grudge in the...
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this. A lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
Meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny's relationship is beginning to resemble a powder keg with a faulty fuse. Behind closed doors, sources say they're clashing hard over how to handle King's downward spiral. Tiny is reportedly pushing for a softer, more protective approach, blaming the system and outside influences. But T.I.? He's said to be getting more combative by the day, insisting their son needs discipline, not excuses. Convinced that only force and high-powered connections can save their son, T.I. has gone into overdrive. But one source close to the couple says this is the single worst crisis they've ever faced together. Worse than the reality TV cancellation, worse than the messy LA lawsuits, and even worse than the public humiliation of that viral Falcons game headlock. This isn't just another headline. It's their family legacy on the line. The emotional toll is staggering, with both sides lashing out while the rest of the Harris clan is caught directly in the blast zone. Zooming out, the stakes couldn't be higher. King, once the pampered wildcard of the Harris dynasty, now stares down a brutal new reality. With every fresh headline and every panicked call from his father, the question grows louder. Will this end with a redemption arc? Or are we watching the total unmaking of one of hip-hop's most famous families? And digging deeper, all signs point to the same chilling possibility. The most shocking details of this ambush and what really happens to a famous name inside the concrete jungle still haven't even come.
And you can, you know what I'm saying, kind of woosah yourself outside of the public opinion.
Watching almost in slow motion as the harsh realities of incarceration rip apart the carefully crafted facade of celebrity privilege. All the money, all the connections, even a powerful last name. None of it buys safety behind those walls. Prison operates on a different code, and King Harris, just like so many before him, is learning the rules the hard way. Those rules are written in blood, enforced without mercy, and they've always been clear. Respect is earned through loyalty, not bought with autographs or fame. In a place where yesterday's chart position means nothing, survival is the only headline that counts. High-profile inmates are often more exposed, not less. And that truth is hitting King Harris harder than anyone imagined. In a place where survival depends on alliances, silence, and respect, the very thing that made him famous may have been his ultimate downfall. Was King's high-profile status the real weapon used against him? That's the chilling question haunting everyone as we try to piece together the aftermath of an ambush that's left the Harris dynasty shaken and staring at threats they never saw coming.